Hello and welcome to another episode of Taste Kitchen. I'm your host, Lauren Castellano, and today we're talking all about ready-to-drink cocktails. We couldn't think of a better option than On the Rocks premium cocktails, so joining me today is Rocco Milano, mixologist and co-founder of the On the Rocks premium cocktails. Rocco, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Lauren. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. Well, I'm excited to dive into this. Do you mind telling our audience a little bit about the initial concept behind On the Rocks and how the company has been pivoting during this whole pandemic?
Absolutely. On the Rocks cocktail started as just kind of an idea. My business partner and I he had a restaurant in the uptown area of Dallas, and we thought, let's do a business that really plays to our strengths. And we were really well known as a cocktail bar. So we thought, well, how do we start expanding on some? Lo and behold, we kept doing a bunch of different airline buyouts as both DFW and Love Field are right here. And one day Virgin America came in and said they really liked the cocktail menu, really liked some of the drinks, and said, well, would you consider doing an in-flight cocktail menu for Virgin America? And I did yes, not a problem. I will absolutely get on that. So we went ahead, we started rolling that out, and it's been a couple of years now, and it's been just one hell of an interesting ride. We decided that instead of just putting together a menu, well, what if we put together the actual drinks themselves and found a way to sell those to you? So we started doing airline shows and conference, and then Virgin got acquired by Alaska, so everything got put on hold there, but Hawaiian Airlines picked up the ball and ran with it, and then we started being introduced into the hotel space as the Four Seasons out at Ko'olina was just being built at the time, and said, hey, we'd love to do this at our resort here. So we went from airlines to hotels, and then to some stadiums, and then as we continued to build more and more in the on-premise, people kept saying, well, where do I find this? So then we started seeing some increases in the off. Ended up signing a partnership with Beam Suntory, and that certainly was a significant game changer for us. And the rest is history. I mean, it's been, kind of one crazy, twist and turn after the other, all the way up into COVID, where everyone and their mother started saying, you know what, I can't go out. How do I get a good drink at home?
Yeah, so do you want to actually touch on that? Because how much has COVID affected On the Rocks? Are you seeing more people are wanting it because it's convenient and they're looking for some good quality stuff?
Absolutely. One of the things that people are certainly not going to give up is drinking. And the ability to do it at home became a significant driving force for a lot of people for a couple different via a couple different avenues. One, certainly via liquor stores, our retail sales have continued to climb. Even throughout COVID, as more and more people were just trying to stock up as, what are you going to do when you're binge watching The Office for the fourth time?
Right.
Have a couple drinks. I mean, that's exactly what I'm planning on doing later tonight, as a matter of fact. But beyond that, restaurants were looking for opportunities. How do I increase sales? How do I continue to see pull through? And a lot of states responded with, we're going to modify our liquor delivery laws. And candidly, there's really no reason why I can't order a pizza and a margarita. It's more just by tradition that it really wasn't allowed. But lo and behold, COVID really helped break through some of that and created a new landscape, for lack of a better term, where restaurants that had been barred from liquor delivery were now open to it. We're now trying to explore some options for it. And we're starting to see a lot more of that from the restaurant sphere, which is traditionally not a space I really played a ton in. It was more hotels, it was more airlines, and it was more for where the bartender wasn't, as I generally like to say. But once it became, once you couldn't go to the restaurant and you couldn't go to the bartender, then the bartender had to come to you. And that's exactly what On the Rocks did, is it brought the bar to you.
Okay. So then one question, because this is a perfect time for your company to be found out by all these restaurants, because they have to have that. Because every bar that I've been to, it's been closed down. They're only just serving food now. So On the Rocks is a genius idea. But how are they finding out about you? Because, if you go to any liquor store, you see that there's a ton of, pre-made drinks and everything. So how do they know about On the Rocks? Because you guys are definitely different than anybody else.
And I certainly do appreciate that. So we have an entire team of people that handle the social media side of things. I do not pretend to understand that as a father of four. I can talk to you about, the most recent Paw Patrol videos that are being released far more easily than I could of what's happening in social media. But we have people for that. And they have just been phenomenal. If you look at our Instagram, I think we're 25,000 plus people. And then on top of that, the number of ways in which we try to build exposure within certain channels. When we try to partner with various hotels, I've never tried being behind the bar. I've never tried being in the well. I've never tried being necessarily on the cocktail menu at the bar. I want to be in the room. I want to be on the VIP amenity. I want to be on the golf cart. I want you to have those initial contacts with us in kind of those fun different placements. And that's really where we've seen some significant growth come from. I remember I was at a iconic hotel in Southern California, and the food and beverage director who I was talking to said, I just had you guys, the other night. I was like, oh, really? Where? He said, the Metallica concert. Did not see that one coming at all. Again, 5-star, 5-diamond hotel, absolute luxury place. I got a lead in from a Metallica show. I'll take it. It worked out great.
So I have some things in front of me and I need to open them up because this is just way too much fun sitting before me. So let's go ahead and get started. Do you want to tell me a little bit about the varieties of On the Rocks that you guys have?
So On the Rocks cocktails make 6 drinks. Some true statements for all of our drinks. We're all natural. We're cane sugar sweetened, and we're preservative free. And what that means is the alcohol is our preservative. That's what gives us shelf life. The ABV is high enough and the pH is low enough that creates an environment where bacteria can't grow, which is really, really cool for doing an all-natural cocktail. Having been a bartender for 15 years prior to this, my goal and my thought process was always, how do we execute as though it was being made from the bar? In terms of balance, your alcohol, your acidity, and your sweetness all need to be in line. And that was huge for us. Everything you just did is everything you need to do to make a cocktail. And that is phenomenal, insane. Especially for something like a Mai Tai or the jalapeno pineapple margarita next to that or the old fashioned next to that. Now I'm going to join you in this Mai Tai because it happens to be one of my favorite cocktails. It's an awesome blend of 3 different styles of rum, and it really is kind of a cool mixing of drinks because it's a blend of both modern and traditional styles. So I'm a classically trained bartender. My Mai Tai is 4 ingredients. One of my business partners used to live in Hawaii. So his first question to me is, when are we going to introduce the pineapple? I said, why would we have pineapple? We need orgeat. He said, what's orgeat? We hit a compromise. I got my orgeat, my lovely French almond syrup. He got his pineapple, and boom, we've got the best of both worlds.
Wow, that is it's so fresh. I was reading about you guys, about how you guys make, cocktails so amazing. And you guys hired a food consultant because you were just mentioning about not having any preservatives or anything. And
Correct.
That does not taste like any of the other pre-made drinks I've ever had before.
Well,
and I think what I've tasted before is I think I've tasted the preservative taste in the other pre-made drinks. This one tastes just like you poured it out of a bar, like someone was just right there making it for me. It's noticeably different.
Right. One of the main goals with hiring a food consultant was to understand thought process. When you're being trained behind the bar, one of the most instrumental things that I was ever told was a balanced cocktail is the correct blend of alcohol, acidity, and sweetness. And one of the things that we needed to understand was how you go about building the actual drink in the bottle. And once we understood that, once we understood the steps and the processes and the techniques behind it, we were able to pick it up and run with it. Because having a bar background and my business partner, coming as a restaurateur, we have so much experience with drinks made from fresh. That's exactly what we did. Every time we worked on a new cocktail, I'd make it from fresh, all fresh ingredients. We'd mix it up, and then we would do a side-by-side comparison. Say, okay, does this stand up to what a fresh cocktail would taste? And then...
How long did that take, though? That must have taken some time.
Our first year, we definitely had more attorneys than employees, so we had plenty of time to kind of get through the process of trying different drinks. What's interesting is drinks do change a little bit over time. So one of the things that became particularly tricky is when you first make the cocktail, it tastes amazing, but then you got to let it sit. because you as my guest are not going to drink this drink as soon as I make it. So how does it taste in 2 weeks? How does it taste in 2 months? So shelf stability testing became very, very important. And one of the fun things about any of these drinks is, you make a couple different variations every time you make one, and then you want to see your side by side. Well, how does the coconut meld with this one, or how does the pineapple meld with this, or kind of how do these ingredients end up playing together? Well, I'm not going to lie. There are days that by noon you are just hammered, and you got to order in sandwiches for lunch because nobody can drive, and then you got to spend some time to. But you know what? At the end of the day, the proof is in the bottle that for all the work that we did. And
I like that.
The Mai Tai is, hands down, if you just look at overall raw sales, one of our best moving drinks. In no small part, it's the signature cocktail for Hawaiian Airlines. So if you fly Hawaiian anywhere in the world, you fly Honolulu to Sydney, you're drinking this Mai Tai. You fly American long haul to Honolulu. American was loading it from ORD and DFW. And then Spirit Airlines, if you fly Spirit anywhere, they all serve the Mai Tai. It's very fresh. It's very clean. Yeah. It's just beautiful flavors. And Cruisin really did something cool where they let us blend our own rum using their base. So we took rums that were 5 to 12 years old and built this cocktail from a custom rum blend. And it just, again, the quality speaks for itself.
Yeah, well, another thing I was going to mention about this, setting you guys apart from everyone else, is just the brands that you're using. And I was going to say that's got to be one of the biggest factors in why it tastes so delicious, is that you guys you're choosing top shelf premium, liquors and spirits. So now I'm going to be doing the jalapeno pineapple margarita. Anything interesting about this one?
We will be doing the jalapeno pineapple margarita.
Ooh, yes. Join me, my friend. Let's do this. Actually, do you know any fun facts about margaritas?
So the margarita, David Wondrich, the cocktail historian, likes to say that it's very difficult to pinpoint cocktail history because we're dealing with people who've been drinking. And the margarita certainly fits that bill. There's a number of different, theories on how that drink came into being. What it was a modification of, was it something completely different, et cetera. This cocktail in particular, what I really, really love is it's a blend of sweet and spice. When we first put this drink together, I was doing a hotel conference for a major hotel group, and we were actually up in Minneapolis. And one of the F&B directors kind of came up to me and said, "Wow, jalapeno and pineapple, it's such a strange flavor combination." I said, "Stop. You don't live anywhere near the southern border." He's like, "No, I live up in Boston." I'm like, "My point exactly." I said, "This is everywhere down there." I said, if you look at it this way, cultures all over the world, you combine heat and you combine sweet. And that's all we did. We just did that in a cocktail form. We added a beautiful Tres Generation tequila, so you get a very rich vegetal characteristic that agave gives you. And then that vibrant jalapeno on the nose. That's just so fresh, like I just cut into it.
But it's not too spicy. That's the thing, is I know people are a little funky about having too spicy of a margarita.
Right. So
this one's just right.
Thank you. What we very much wanted to do was make this drink accessible. It noses very spicy because you associate that jalapeno aromatics with it, but it doesn't drink that way. It drinks very clean. It drinks much smoother. And I absolutely love that cocktail. This year, the past couple of years, this drink has, it's had some success, but, not a ton. This is the summer of jalapeno pineapple margarita. Let me tell you. It is blowing up everywhere, and it is a phenomenal cocktail. And you're absolutely right. Being able to say to my guest, this is the spirit that's in that cocktail has made all the difference in the world.
Oh, absolutely.
We use premium tequila. What the hell does that mean? I'm telling you what I'm using. I'm using Tres Generation. I'm using, Cruisin, Diamond Estate, and Single Barrel. I'm using Knob Creek. All of that makes so much of a difference.
Yes. So much of a difference. I've done spirit tasting before, and just even having just different varieties of vodkas, it is mind-blowing the difference in taste that you have. And so to put this into a pre-made cocktail, you guys got to have the best stuff because it will absolutely affect the taste. Okay, so last but certainly not least, we're going to the old fashioned. So is this one of your favorites, or do you have a favorite at all?
Of these three, I'd say the Mai Tai is probably mine because I used to, many, many moons ago, I was down in Guatemala and got introduced to some aged rum there. And I really kind of fell in love with rum, what rum was capable of being, et cetera. So the Mai Tai for me, that being said, in terms of quality of cocktail, there's been a number of people who I've met who've said, you know what, you make 6 different drinks. I'm not going to taste 6 different drinks. I'm going to judge you on one. And if I was going to be judged on anything, it would be the old fashioned. This is definitely the I'm not here to mess around cocktail. The previous 2 cocktails are 20% alcohol by volume. This is 35. Okay. This means that the thought process being, how would I execute as a bartender? There's my whiskey, there's my bitters, there's my ice for a walk around a glass, and then hand it off to my guest. And that's essentially what I've done here. Knob Creek, you're going to get that very strong bourbon characteristic that Knob has. And a little bit
before I take my drink, before this one, if we're going to do this together, do you have a cheers since you have a little bit of history in this? Any famous cheers that you do?
You know what? I will work on one, and our next tasting, when we taste through some of the other drinks, I will have one ready, and I'll somehow work your name into it. How does that sound?
All right. That sounds good. I think down here in Miami, whenever I've gone out for drinks, we'll do eye contact. Something about eye contact. They won't let you take a drink without it, so here's to that.
You know what? Wait. Okay, here in Texas, what we do is we will tap the table.
Okay, we'll tap the table then. I'll take that back, so tapping it back.
Now that will
wake
you up.
This did not come from this. I don't understand. This isn't real. This is like an illusion or something. What's going on?
I once had a global brand ambassador for an incredibly well-known Scotch company. I was at a trade show, and I was tasting him through some of the drinks, and he looked at me and he said, I should not be liking this. How did you do this?
Seriously.
And it really kind of comes down to when I first started with this line of work in the ready-to-drink space, there were some people I very much respected within the liquor world who were telling me I was pissing away my career getting involved with an RTD at all. And, one of the things that we kind of endeavored to do was remove that stereotype and help elevate what an RTD was, and that it's not, just a medium of getting drunk. It's not a handle you take to the lake and, just get obliterated. What I wanted to do is I wanted to create a real culinary experience. I wanted you to have, different multidimensional characteristics to these drinks. And I really wanted to create a culinary experience in a glass. And that's what I really think that On the Rocks, does so well.
Well, still an experience. Actually, one of the first times that I saw this, I was on the Brightline, I was telling you, down here in Florida, and I was going from the Honda Classic. It's a very big, famous golf tournament here, and people were coming from West Palm Beach back down to Miami. So golf tournaments, as you know, are probably pretty big at drinking. So it was cool to see that the same drinks that they were drinking at the bar there at the golf course, they were able to then follow on to the Brightline because you guys had the On the Rocks and people were ordering the old fashions, the margaritas, but still getting that premium level. And it kept the party going. So it was really cool to see people enjoying the experience, still on the train. So is there any fun places that you can actually find On the Rocks other than the Brightline down here in Miami?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I mean, you've already mentioned Brightline, and that's certainly, the soft spot in my heart. Honestly, you can find us at a number of different places around the U.S., both hotels, airlines, like I mentioned earlier. We actually do the in-room cocktails for the Four Seasons Bora Bora. So should you find yourself in French Polynesia, we do the cocktails there. But stateside, we're in all Whole Foods that sell liquor. We're just starting to expand into a number of chains like Target and the like, kind of across the U.S. So we're seeing tremendous growth there. But like I said, even just restaurants. I mean, Joe's Stone Crab. Shout out to Joe's. Love those guys. They are killing it down there with their little to-go area with On the Rocks.
Yeah, I think this is a genius idea because they can just take it right out to the table. So before we close, I really want to have viewers know if you guys are working on anything else new as far as products, any new flavors or anything else they should look for.
Always. There's always something that, is rattling around somewhere that needs to get put into a bottle. We've developed a couple different ideas. Everything right now is still in the concept phase, whether it be, hey, let's introduce a cool Bloody Mary, or let's take kind of a cold pressed coffee and let's introduce, some I love very near and dear to my heart is Irish whiskey. So maybe we do something with that. Always new ideas in the works. And it's just a question of what we can conceive of. And that's some of what's so exciting and fun about doing this is we're really only limited by our creativity.
Yes. Well, I'm excited that you guys are in charge because there's a lot of passion I can hear in your voice, and you also have a good history behind it. So I'm glad that you're in charge, help making these delicious drinks. So thank you so much, Rocco, for being on Taste Kitchen and sharing these amazing, delicious premium craft cocktails.
Pleasure was all mine, Lauren. Salud.
Salud. All right, and thanks to our audience for watching the show. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and smash that bell for more great content. And if you have an idea for an upcoming episode, make sure to send us an email over to producer@foodabletv.com. We'll catch you next time right here on Taste Kitchen.